Hello and welcome to the House of Law. I'm attorney Lillia Tika, and today I have a special guest with me, Jodi Switalski, who is running for Macomb County Prosecutor. Hello Jodi, how are you doing today?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming. So tell us a little about yourself, a little bit about your background. I know that you've done a lot.
I have done a lot, so I will try to give you the Cliff Note version and try to keep everybody awake here a little bit. I'm actually a former victim advocate. I worked in a prosecuting attorney's office, and from there I went to law school. I became an assistant prosecuting attorney in Macomb County, where I did a lot of felony litigation, a lot of capital cases, a lot of cases with child victims, which were difficult, but you know, it really gives an individual a sense of accomplishment. You know, when you empower that victim and you teach them that. From there, I was a court administrator and I was a magistrate for a couple of years, and then I was appointed by a governor to the district court bench, where I served for a number of years, founding treatment courts and doing a lot of work. I was cross-assigned to circuit court as well, so I got that cognitive aspect of that, and a lot of statewide agencies, and formed a veterans treatment court, as we were talking about earlier. I met and married my husband, who you know, and he's a judge in Macomb County as well, Mark Switalski, and so I eventually,
favorite.
Yay! So I eventually stepped down from the bench because we had to live in separate counties.
Yeah.
And so now I practice law. I'm also a national consultant. I do a tremendous amount of work on the opioid epidemic, mental health, just substance abuse in general, and interpersonal violence, which includes trauma. So everything from, you know, trauma from injuries, trauma from cancer, trauma from traumatic brain injury, a lot of work in that area. So it keeps me busy, and I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, and we have stepkids and we have grandkids.
Aww.
And so yeah, life is busy.
Yeah,
so it's good.
So tell us more about the treatment court, the Veterans Treatment Court, and you said you founded another treatment court. Is that correct as well? When you were
I was involved with the treatment courts peripherally as an assistant prosecuting attorney in Macomb County, and then when I went into the bench, I had a sobriety court, a domestic violence court, and then I founded a nationally recognized veterans treatment court. Treatment courts are it's not a get out of jail free type of thing, but it's a specialty court that's designed to hold an offender, you know, someone who commits a crime, hold them accountable while providing therapeutic services for them. And I feel abundantly that our military servicemen and women, not just people that qualify for veteran status through the VA, have really written a blank check for this country, and they're not getting paid back on that. My husband had started one already, and so I loved what he was doing in Macomb County. I started one over in Oakland through my district court, and then we merged the two, and we're still involved with those today, and it's one of the hardest things that I've ever done. One of the by far most rewarding endeavors.
usually the most difficult ones.
It is,
most
yes.
It's a great feeling though. So why did you decide to run for prosecutor?
Oh boy, prosecuting attorney in Macomb County. You know, we're looking at a situation in Macomb County where we have indicted public officials, numerous, you know, indicted public officials. So, you know, I don't know, 8 months, 10 months, people kept coming to me, you know, Jodi, you know, you're perfect for this position. I certainly have the experience. I'm one of the only candidates, you know, that's actually served as a Macomb County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. You know, I have served honorably on the bench as well. I received, you know, awards and statewide recognition for some of the work that I've done. But, you know, for me, it was the potential to set it right. Between my professional background, my experience, and even my educational background, you know, now is the time where we have to shift the paradigm of criminal justice. And I'm not talking about, again, not being tough on crime, because public safety is by far the #1 job of any prosecuting attorney. But public safety has to be smart too. And that's where the treatment courts and diversion and taking situations and truly individualizing each case so you're tough but smart too. And no other candidate offers that type of experience, and I can do it from day one. And so I just said, all right, I'm going to do this. So here we are off and running.
So what changes would you like to see if and when you do become prosecutor in Macomb County?
First of all, we've got to create greater diversity, not just within the office, as far as the type of individuals and the ethnicities of individuals, the religions of the individuals that we employ, but we've got to create a more diverse understanding of people's experiences. Now, as an expert, or I've been deemed an expert in substance abuse, and I've taught at Harvard Medical School. I've spoken at the So I've spoken at the International Conference on Opioids, and I do training for medical professionals every single year. I've done the Syrian American Medical Society, both here and nationally. And so, we have to look at the cause of crime.
Absolutely.
And so not only are we going to diversify the office, we're going to attack and be aggressive with violent crime. We're going to educate our prosecutors and shift that paradigm there, but we're going to shrink the policy manual as well. And again, go toward that therapeutic approach. So if you have someone who, for example, is breaking into homes because they are chemically dependent on, say, an opioid, a lot of people become dependent and addicted from their doctor, from their prescriptions from their doctor. We need to treat that individual and not just punish them.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So, the office is going to shift like that. In doing some of these things, we can also save taxpayer dollars. And we're going to dramatically increase the level of transparency within the office as well. We have to measure, it's no secret that people of different races and ethnicities, cultures get treated differently. And so we're going to immediately set up a dashboard. We're going to start, measuring these differences, finding the source of those differences, and correcting that problem. The dashboard, though, will allow your viewers, to hold me accountable for that. And we're going to have a conviction integrity unit. We're going to expand senior crimes. As a former victim advocate, we obviously need to do a better job with all victims, that present to the prosecutor's office. So, these are big challenges. They sound like lofty goals, but in all honesty, I've done this in other communities around the country. So, you just take it one step at a time. And, it's not all going to be done in the first year, but we're going to make very aggressive steps. And again, it's all going to be measurable on some sort of dashboard or way that the community can access all of this and have input. We want to create community coalitions so that people can say, hey, this is what's happening, and they can have access to me as their public servant.
That's amazing. Most people don't see that position as being a public servant. They see it more as a more political position in a sense.
Yeah.
What I do like, though, I've been speaking with a lot of different people about the whole mental health and how a lot of individuals are now focusing on that, because I think that's a really big deal right now. What I see in our community is that, some people that, just now came from Iraq or other Middle Eastern countries, they're afraid to speak up about mental health.
Right.
They're afraid to admit that there may be an issue.
Yes.
They're afraid to seek treatment. And what I've been seeing a lot within our community itself, and not worldwide, it's just within our community itself.
Right.
It's happening a lot where the younger generation is overdosing on drugs instead of seeking that help because they're afraid to go to their parents to say, maybe I have a mental health issue that needs to be addressed.
That's exactly right. You are so on point. When I do presentations around the country and in the Metro Detroit area, I always say that substance abuse and mental health don't happen in silos. They're often so very married to one another.
Absolutely.
And when we talk about mental health, and especially some of the communities, some of the viewers that are watching here, we're looking at significant trauma, especially for refugees and things of that nature. And trauma can be a lot of different things. And so that's exactly right. We've got to look at the source of the criminal behavior, and we've got to decrease stigma. And so going back to being a public servant, you all vote. That means, in my world, that you've hired me.
Absolutely.
You are the jury. You are the ones that get to say what you want me to do and how you want me to behave. In 2015, I won an Integrity in Our Communities Award. I was the first winner of that award. I was really humbled to get that. But it's because being a judge, or in this case, being a prosecutor, doesn't stop at 5 o'clock. We have to do prevention, we have to do education, we have to decrease stigma so that people know when they're not feeling well, it's okay to reach out, and then we have to make sure that we create the systems to reach out within the schools. The last 5 years or so, I've probably spoken to 15 to 20,000 students. We're going to do that again. We're going to make sure everybody can get the help, and that it's okay to get help for all of these things before they find themselves in the criminal justice system.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, question for you. Now, if they were to enter treatment court, who would be covering that? Would they have to pay out of pocket for that? Because most of these individuals don't have the funds, don't have insurance. How can they pay for it, I guess?
Okay, so there's a number of different ways that treatment courts can be funded. And the one thing that I hated the most about my treatment courts were the barriers to recovery. I can't afford to get to counseling because I have 4 bald tires on my truck or my vehicle, right? So then if you can't get to counseling, then you're in violation. I hated that. I don't like excuses either, don't get me wrong. We've got to get it done. So we've got to create avenues for success, and funding, access to justice, access to these alternative sentencing measures like treatment court are important. So there are grant funds out there. There are a plethora, at least pre-COVID, there were a plethora of dollars out there. I've gone and gotten those for other courts. We're going to get those as well. There are 10 key components for any treatment court. One of the most important components is the prosecuting attorney. We control who gets access to treatment courts, but it gets bigger than that, because treatment court dollars that help support individuals so they can achieve recovery, they stop at a certain point. They only cover certain things like drug testing, counseling. And so now what do? This was actually something that happened. A guy kept violating. He couldn't get to counseling because he had 4 bald tires. So I created a not-for-profit. And it was the Friends of the North Oakland County Veterans Treatment Court. And so we're going to create and expand the existing not-for-profits that I'm already a part of, so we can go get tires for that individual so they can be successful. It's about setting people up for success and not, again, punitive. Now, there's a time where you balance public safety, right, with opportunity for rehabilitation, and sometimes that tips, and they do have to go to jail. But no, we keep working and working and working on that, and we will generate that funding in a lot of different ways.
Well, who would know that better than you, right? Because you've already had that experience.
Yes.
And you have your resources.
Yes.
So it's not somebody brand new that would have to figure it out.
Right.
It would take a little bit longer for them to actually implement the ideas that they come forth with.
Exactly.
So, if anything, you're the one that we can trust to get things done immediately once you get in. So
exactly. And there are methods and theories and models that are kind of boring, really. But I've taken all of those things, and I love the case method. I call it copy and steal everything. And so I've done it, and we've improved upon things, and we're constantly improving upon things. And so that's what I want to do in the prosecutor's office. I want to hold violent offenders accountable, but let's help people. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what a public servant does.
I mean, we have clients that come in, and I do a lot of family law. So,
right.
I deal with a lot of clients that have been a part of domestic violence, that have been abused by their spouse for years and years and years. So when they come to me, I can see it. I can see there's something more going on than just what they're telling me.
Exactly.
So I myself, I tell them, I'm like, maybe you should seek therapy. Maybe you should just for, it's in the best interest of not only you, but your children as well. And it breaks my heart to see that. And even, I do criminal law as well. Yeah. So even my clients for that, I can see there's something more to it. I can see why, not why they committed the crime or whatnot, but I can see why it led to them doing it, led to them becoming that criminal,
Exactly.
But when we go to court, I can't exactly tell a judge, well, Your Honor, maybe there's a underlying mental health issue here, because there's no such thing as us bringing that forth. It's something that,
Right.
Like you would create some sort of treatment court just for that, where that individual can go get that help, go get that counseling, go take that drug
Exactly.
test or whatever it may be before we put that person in jail.
Exactly.
Because
And
we know they're going to come out again and do the same thing.
absolutely, right? If you don't treat the underlying
Yeah.
problem. There's actually something called the Family Dependency Court. So for our family law cases, when we start to identify those, we can get the judiciary on board and all of these, community coordinating agencies and such. It's like a hub and spoke method, so that the judge then can not only treat the individuals, the litigants that are involved, they can treat the kids, and it's not like a child protective services case, but it increases the reach. And it's proven to decrease crime and increase positive outcomes. So, those are the kind of things that, yes, I'm ready on day one to start moving forward. And I've committed to reaching out to different communities. I hope that you're going to be a part of this as well.
I hope so too.
Because, within the first 30 days, we're going to start setting up these goals. We're going to start establishing these dashboards and figuring out, what the various communities need and how we can help implement that. But I can't do it on my own, so I need people like you. So
course,
you're roped in.
Thank
so.
you. I'd love to be a part of that. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else that you see right now in the prosecutor's office that it would be your first thing to change for the better? That you like one thing that you can think of right now that that you would like to change almost immediately, or is that what we've been speaking about?
I think that there have been obviously some issues in the prosecuting attorney's office with trust. And there, in my opinion, has not been enough trust building. So, certainly that extension has got to start happening right away. You can't get a hold of people in the prosecuting attorney's office. That needs to be changed right away. And we've got to publicly make everyone aware of exactly how you reach me and or the prosecutor on your case. We have got to immediately expand that crime victims' rights unit. They have walked away from millions of dollars in expansion, and I'm sure you hear on your criminal cases or on your family law cases when you're representing the victim in a case, I can't get a hold of anyone, I can't get any information. That has got to be changed right away.
I have a client like that actually.
Exactly. And it sounds like a small issue. I mean, everyone's going to say we're going to shrink the policy manual and we're going to increase integrity. But, the way that we do that, my grandfather always taught me, actions speak louder than words. That's how we're going to show we're available, we're there, we're here for you. We're going to treat and just really shift that paradigm from being untouchable to being that public servant.
Absolutely. Any other ideas that you have in mind that you would like to implement once you get into office?
Besides the treatment court systems, these community collaborations, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to call them. Those are going to be reinforced exponentially. I want to work closely hand in hand with the judiciary, not just at the circuit court level, but I want to work, at the district court level as well. There's so much that can be done with early intervention. But I want to also reach out to some of the Metro Detroit prosecuting attorneys as well. Think of how powerful this could be if we all operated from same or similar paradigms. Obviously we have, so obviously we have different populations, but again, we can create something that is nationally powerful and recognized in criminal justice reform. And I'm not talking about undoing law enforcement. I want to work hand in hand with law enforcement. Because they're integral to decreasing crime, which is our number one goal. But we're going to very quickly expand and hold out our hands to the area counties as well.
That's amazing. Now, any last words that you have for our viewers, and just let our viewers know when they can vote and how they can vote?
Wonderful. First of all, I want to thank you. This has been a tremendous opportunity. I've appreciated my time with each and every one of you. Justice is an interesting word. Justice should not be imbalanced. Justice should be fair. It is a right that every single one of you that are watching and others who hopefully are voting deserve. You should get nothing but the best from your public servants and the people that you elect. And I submit to you that I am the individual to do that. I believe in holding up the Constitution. I believe that we should assess and free the innocent while convicting those that are guilty. And again, we've talked a lot today about various types of criminal justice reform that is also imperative in the word justice. I believe and I submit to you that I have proven through my actions that we will do that in a way that is fair, balanced, and equal for every person. I am on the ballot on August 4th. I hope that each and every one of you will come out and vote. You can absentee ballot just by going into your clerk's office and requesting an absentee. And certainly the polls will be open from until 8 o'clock in the evening on August 4th. You can reach me at www.macomb, M-A-C-O-M-B, for F-O-R, Switalski, SWITALSKI.com. And certainly you know how to reach me as well, so they can hop on a link with you.
Awesome.
Again, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to vote August 4th for Jodi Switalski for prosecutor in Macomb County. Thank you for watching the House of Law. See you next time.